You pass out, hearing distant battle, chanting death. When you awake, you nudge Volka, who is thankfully still alive. Back at camp, Spar tells you escaped prisoners from Galar attacked. They were starving, more interested in food than fighting, he says. Before he died, one of them said they had been left to rot in Galar. All the townsfolk and guards gone to Arborang. So, welcome back to the Bulwark's campaign. Let's give you a -6 to strength right off the bat. Damn it. You find the Varl near an empty barrel, staring at the darkness. He would be drunk if there was more meat for him. What is it we're doing, Blood Eyes? I mean, honestly, what's the plan rattling around in that head of yours? Beat your senses if you keep drinking all the mead. What else is there to do? You can't even sing to pass the time in this outfit. I don't care if you're entertained, little calf. I'm starting to wonder what you do care about. Overheard you saying some strange thing to Folka about the dredge. You start growling by instinct. Do yourself a favor and stay the fawn away from things that don't concern you. You grab the Warhawk by the horns and punch him in the gut. He doubles over, coughing. The red-headed Varl grunts, rearing up with a punch that catches you in the chin. While you recover, the ravens all gather round, some daring to cheer. Folka watches with interest. Before you reach him, Siphorn lowers his head as well and rams forward. The crack is louder than thunder, and both of you step back a pace dazed. Punches are thrown, and a few tents destroyed before the two of you are doused with water by the ravens. That's what I needed, Siphorn says, through a mop of wet hair. That's good sport. The crowd of mercenaries laughs and starts cleaning up. Valka Zephyr is speaking quietly to Folka when you approach. Not forbidden, only rare for Valka to have children. So Nichols was like a son. He was not my child by birth. What did you do to him back in that cave? I did the only thing I could do. The thing we never want to do. The Valka's eyes filled with tears. I forced a skip in the pattern, which won't mean much to you. Suffice it to say that menders usually repair skips, or mistakes, in the woven fabric of our world. They cover powerful exposed threads until all is right, and the pattern is whole. I did just the opposite. You stare at her blankly. By skipping Nichols, I exposed the thread and used that power to end Eyeless's attack. And that cost Nichols his life? Yes, but it is a sacrifice every mender is prepared to make, should it be necessary. How do you know you won't try to skip me when we get to Manahar? Because I can. It is a conscious choice a mender is taught how to make. Silence spans a few moments. A brave kid, then. The ravens will remember him in a battle chant. I'm sure he'd have liked that. Was there anything else you wanted to discuss? Any idea why Galar would abandon its prisoners? I've been out of contact with the council since I departed for Bindal, but it can't be good. If the prisoners were telling the truth about everyone fleeing to Arborang, King Maynolf will have a serious problem to handle. I wonder if Rook and the others know what they're heading into. They're not our concern. Enough talking, let's get moving. Agreed, we need to get this cart to Manahar soon, and we're not far now. Welcome to the stream, Whoosh. We are in a horrible position. We lost the ambush fight. We have 6 strength penalty on Balvark. I've lost a bunch of playable characters. It's going to be a tough fight here on out. I'm debating just spending all my renown on supplies to heal up everybody. But who knows? If you have any words of wisdom, now would be the time. These woodcutters were no slouches in a fight with those prisoners, Spar says, coughing. I've seen weaker men in Wardon, and I think this group realizes their idea of staying here is a pretty bad one. You want me to recruit them? War fighters are good, but what's the downside? Same as it's always been, the old wanderer says. They eat like blasted trolls, but can't find food to save their lives. Our supplies will go quicker. Let's recruit them. I've got a suspicion you actually like humans more than any other Varl alive, Spar says, checking until he starts coughing and wheezing the air. So, they've made quite a lot of improvements, and the battles are very challenging, especially on hard mode. For example, in the first one, when you traveled, your injury timer would still go down. In this one, you actually have to stop and rest if you want to heal your injuries. So you can get into a very bad place if you get a lot of injuries in a couple fights. So I'm going to be running the line of starving here, I think. So several ravens report a large hole in the ground nearby. There's strange marks all around it, one says. Some look fresh, others look like they've been there as long as the mountains. Spar looks up. This hole have smooth sides? About as deep as a Varl, he asks. The men nod and Spar grunts. What's in the hole? We couldn't tell, a scout says. No trees around, just a deep hole in the ground about 4 yaks length across. My arms were like chicken skin just looking at it. Well, let's have a look then. No sooner has the words left your mouth than you see Folka look at you. Were you trying to be funny? Craven and Raven? You ignore her and head for the hole. It's as described, big, deep, surrounded by scrawlings in the surrounding rock, and it's disturbing. Let's toss the scout in and see what he finds. The man yelps as he falls into the hole with a pleasing thud. He spits out dirt and swears loudly, and starts looking around. It's not a fun thing down here, he shouts. Just mud, rock, and... He stops and bends down. Everyone leans in, straining to see what he's pulling out of the ground. And more mud, he shouts, throwing 2 handfuls at the others. Caught off guard, a couple other men fall into the pit. The ravens start laughing and calling for a fight. And for a moment, the world feels familiar again, unbroken. Yeah, no spikes, see? It's all good. A large group of the clansmen from Bindal have stopped. Gasps and whispers among them. What's the problem now, you ask, breaking into their circle and finding a couple protectively holding a bundled baby. It's a curse, an omen, one man says. The child's been replaced. Changed. Never seen anything like it. You wouldn't know a thing about this, Varl, but they do. He points at the couple and others nod. A few women holding their children tighter. Maybe the darkness did it. Maybe they have dark secrets. It's a sad, hard thing to accept, but either the babe dies or we all suffer fiercely. Show me this kid. The father hesitates before pulling the swathing open. Your experience with human children is minimal, but this looks just like any other baby. Look at the head, someone shouts. You lean down and see feathers. Over the ears, small tufts of pale down feathers, and the kind you remember seeing on the neck and under the wings of Irinx. So Irinx was an old god. So to the Varl, it's a good omen. So if it's an omen, it's a good one. No one harms the child. The mother starts weeping and thanking you. Little Harakir, you mumble, and the father smiles. That's what I'll call him, he says. Maybe the gods aren't. You walk off before you can finish. A little bit of a morale boost. Stop and rest again, because I think We still have quite a few injuries. 3 and 1. I'm also trying to keep morale as high as possible in this run through, but I feel like we're gonna starve very soon. We're about 80% of the way through the game, I think. We're nearing up to the end.
I always respected Bygglaerer the Builder, but if he made those caves we went through, well, I'd have killed him myself.
So this is the Builder's Godstone. You knives, watch your step around those cards, Sparn says, hacking. Many a foolish pilgrim have given their life at the base of this frozen cliff. And don't try working one of the stones free either. It'll bring the whole damn thing down on us. He glares at Ollie, who pulls his hand away from a stone quickly. The piece of Bygglaerer's Godstone, put together without mortar or daub, represents the mastery of the god's own skill. In life, he traveled the land, laying the world's cavernous foundation and raising mountains. He was ever regarded by the gods with a very aspect. For one who knows how to put things together will always know how to take them apart. The sound of snickering draws your attention, and you see some kids grabbing stones from other carts to build a new one of their own. Shout for them to knock it off, knock theirs over, run them off, grab a stone and toss it. Knock theirs over and run them off. A swift kick and their stones go flying. The kids squeal and run, one slipping and almost falling over the cliff. Not bad, Spar says. Not Bygglaerer's first lesson, but breaking things down was definitely something this god knew well. Look, the old man points to a trinket the kids must have left under the piles of stones. An uneasy feeling washes over you, and you scan the ravens, clansmen, and Bellower's cart for any threat. Blood axe, Spar says in a tone stripped of all humor. My eyes are too old to trust what I'm seeing down there. You follow his gaze and growl. On the distant field below is a massive dredge, too numerous to count. Waves of them are pouring over hills. Though they don't move like an attacking force, there's a banner among them. Folka says near you, but can't make out the crest. You wave off her comment and roar command. Move. Alright, let's take a look at what we got there. I'm also going to get another 2 days rest. I know later on in this chapter there's like a hard march where you're not allowed to stop. So it's going to be real tough when we get to that part. But I think we got a bunch of kills with Ollie. So what do we got here? I'm lacking a tank, I'm lacking range damage. Jesus. I think we honestly gave him just a bunch of willpower. Because if we can get him to the point where he can regen 3 willpower per turn, that'll really help his throwing ability. And we're also going to be trying to give him this at level 9. So break talents, 30% to crit, and 1 range distance. It'll bring him up to 50% to crit, extra range, and the break talents that we're going to take are going to be 20% to cause puncture. So we might even get extra damage there. It's going to be dirty. I'm excited to see that in play. But for now, so we need 1, 2. Do this. Rest for 1 day, hit the road. This is going to be a grueling battle. fighters at the front of the company begin hacking away at dense underbrush. We'll be here all day if the rest of you don't grab your axe and start chopping. One of them growls before wincing at a pain in his hands. Forget this path, we'll find another way. A pain in his hand. It sounds like this bush might be like a poisonous bush. We'll forget this path and find another way. The scouts search in various directions, but a day passes before another route is found. The clansmen don't seem to mind the rest, though. Shit. The company comes upon a small village. The people still hard at work, with only an occasional glance skyward to the approaching darkness. Volka sees a man chopping wood as she learned to do a lifetime ago. These people don't know what's coming. They'll figure it out soon enough, to say. Turn to the rest of the caravan. We get what we need from this place and rest if necessary. The next few days will be the hardest and the last some of you will ever see. As you instruct a man to check the cart wheels and yoke straps, you hear someone say, "Hello again." You turn quickly and see the man, Ditch. Quiet as always, but wisely out of your immediate axe reach. "What do you want?" you ask. "Well, just that I was scouting around this place, you know," Ditch says, "and I went up the hill to watch the dredge. The banner we saw, it's from Enartoft." Enartoft, you grimace as a town name floods your mind with images. A giant bridge, hundreds of varl, Ivor in your way, your anger focused just beyond him. Enartoft was sacked, the old war leader, Crumb says. "You'd better be as sure as crap stinks about what you saw, human." Ditch nods quickly. "Then I'm going after them," Crumb says. "It's not a request." "This fight is so tough. Join the old varl, though it could be suicide." "Stick with him," you growl to the few fighters you allow to join. "If he's still as lucky as he claims, we'll grab the others and get back in one piece."